If we're given a reaction, aluminum plus sodium hydroxide produces a Na3AlO3 plus hydrogen gas. We're given that we have 7.05 moles of aluminum and 20.2 moles of sodium hydroxide, and we're asked what's the limiting reactant. We see that we have much less aluminum than we do sodium hydroxide, but this does not mean that is the limiting reactant, because in the reaction we use much less aluminum than sodium hydroxide. So we should calculate one of the products to determine which produces the least amount of product. So starting with aluminum, 7.05 moles aluminum, and I'll calculate the amount of the Na3AlO3. So the stoichiometric ratio is 2 to 2. And that, of course, gives us 7.05 moles. So starting with the sodium hydroxide, we have 20.2 mole sodium hydroxide. We multiply by the stoichiometric ratio of 2. Over 6. And that gives us 6.73. So we get less of the product starting from the sodium hydroxide than we do starting with the aluminum. So that means the sodium hydroxide is the limiting reactant. And we care about this because any of our calculations, stoichiometric calculations, has to be done with the limiting reactant. So if we have more than one of the reactants, quantities of more than one of the reactants, we have to determine the limiting reactant first before we can finish any calculations that we want to do.